Welcome to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. We are sitting down with Mr. Corey Geary today. What's up, brother? Thanks for coming over.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
I know we've been trying to get this on the books for a while. You've been busy. We just haven't been able to link up, and finally we are here. I'm pretty excited, bro, because your background. I mean, we've had multiple conversations in the realm of entrepreneurship and I know you. I mean, you come from a background that had nothing to do with real estate. It was really, kind of far out from anything out there, really. And then you just started crushing it as a real estate investor, and then became an entrepreneur. Now you have multiple ventures in the works, and yeah. So I want to hear all about that stuff. Talk to us, brother.
Awesome, man. Well, so yeah, my previous life, I was a blackjack dealer.
Yeah.
And I just dealt cards every night. Did it for...
I was going to say a dealer, but I didn't want to put it out of context.
No, well, card dealer, right?
Card dealer.
So, yeah, did that for, 16, 17 years, a little bit longer than I probably should have, but that's all right, It was a great paying job, saved up a lot of money, and that's actually how, literally at home watching, Flip or Flop, on the HGTV channel with my girl at the time, who was a realtor, and she's like, why don't you flip a house? Because she knew I had some money stashed away. And I was like, oh, why don't I flip a house, I guess? And that's exactly how I got into real estate, and so got my first property, under contract. It wasn't direct to seller, it was from a wholesaler. And flipped my first house. Took me 6 months and made $8,000 profit.
Oh, wow. I'm telling you, man, sometimes when you jump into it without experience and you take that bite into the, the taste of freedom, I guess. Yeah. Things don't really pan out how you kind of had them, laid out usually at the beginning, right? Because there's a learning curve.
It is, and it's not like the TV shows, right?
not like Flip or Flop.
No, and all the stress and sleepless nights just to, for that whole 6 months, I pulled out my 401k, I pulled out my savings. I didn't know nothing about hard money, any of this stuff. Yeah, so I'm just I was all in on this one house to get it, to make it happen. And I was just, happy and lucky enough to make it to the end and not lose money on that property.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know I lost a couple thousand on my first flip. And I feel lucky because it was just a couple thousand.
Absolutely.
But it's not, I almost ended up, flat, no profits, no losses really, but it was just underneath. And I walk away with that experience and I see it as a win now. Yeah. At the time I was frustrated, I was pissed off. I was like, man, this is not how I had it, pictured in my mind. Yeah, which at the end of the day, it's been kind of like the story throughout my entrepreneur career, right? Since I started, I always, come up with this vision and I get euphoric about it and then jump into it and it's totally different. How has it been for you, just as an entrepreneur in general?
Exactly that. Because my flipping journey, it got a little better for a minute, and then I got a partner that came on board, and we got really arrogant, and we thought we were big boys. We took on way too much than we could chew. And we lost a lot of money in that process. So about that time when we lost all that money is when I was like, well, I need to ask the question how these wholesalers are getting their deals. And that's how I got into wholesaling. So then I searched out some mentors, some, just some coaching. And that was where that journey started. And back in 2018, I searched out Sean Terry, which was kind of everybody's kind of mentor, especially in the beginning, right?
Oh, absolutely.
His enthusiasm and his just the way he teaches is so amazing. So that's how my journey kind of started. And then I picked up a couple other mentors here and there, and just kind of grew with it, man. And been doing the wholesaling since then. And we still do fix and flips. I have learned so much about that, and I actually make profit on my fix and flips now.
Now it's a profitable business.
Now it's a profitable business, right? It took a lot of struggles to get to where I was at with that. Same with the wholesaling, man. It was not, when we first started doing it and I first built a team out, it was not how you envision, and there was a lot of struggles, and we've had a lot of negative months. It's not been all just rainbows and sunshine by any means. I've had my ups and downs, but the great thing is with the wholesaling, year after year, I've had my best years. Last year was my best year. and even with all the viruses and all the crap that's been going on with COVID. And we had a few months that ran in the red because of that. But overall, the whole year was our best year. So.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Building on top of the previous experiences, I think is really what gets you through that journey. At the end of the day, entrepreneurs by nature, we're just wired to take risks, even when we don't have to necessarily. But it's part of the process, right? It's part of that creating just because you can type of mentality.
It is.
I mean, at least that's how I see it. I think. Not everybody takes a leap, especially after getting after getting hit. The first couple of times, people don't usually get up and start or keep walking towards
120%.
Yeah.
My partner at the time, we broke up partnership because of it, and then he went back to dealing cards because he was also from the casino, and he went back to dealing cards, and I just kept on pushing. The way I looked at it was just to your point was if I laid down and quit now, then I lost.
Right.
It's over. I lost. But if I keep, the only way I'm going to get my money back, or the only way I'm going to be successful at this is by keep pushing through it.
Right.
And having more successes on the back end, right? And, and that's exactly what happened.
There's this really interesting concept about the entrepreneur black hole. I call it that. I know there's got to be a better name for it, but it's kind of what drags you and can hold you down if you don't realize where you're at, right? And it's a learning curve, really. You did something really, really cool, which is, looked up mentorship. There's a stigma around mentorship, like, no, they just want you for, everybody just wants to tap into your money. Don't look for mentors. You can find it all on YouTube. And it might be true. There's a lot of stuff out there, but at the end of the day, it's not. Every experience is different, right? When you have a mentor, you're cutting the learning curve. It's really what it comes down to. Now, in terms of the learning curve, I have like the way I see it now, where how I realize where I'm at mentally whenever I'm going through something new is at the beginning. We start off by being unconsciously incompetent.
Yeah, we do.
Right?
I love that.
Like, you're unconsciously incompetent. What it means is that we suck at whatever we're gonna do. We just don't know that we suck yet, and it's.
But we want to do it.
Yeah, but we want to do it. That's where I get euphoric, right? I have all kinds of numbers and business plans, in my head and projections, and I'm gonna hire this and do that and create this and then come out with that and fart rainbows and do all kinds of amazing shit.
That's what happens.
Yeah, and then boom, you really get into it. And you start sucking and you realize that you suck. Like, oh, wow, it's not what I was expecting. That's when you make negative on the first flip, for example, my case, or
right.
8K on your case, after 6 months. And but if you stick with it, if you stay on that track for long enough, you're gonna start to see results. And then you become unconsciously competent.
Yeah.
And meaning that people outside of you will see it, hey, you're getting better. And they start asking you about things, but you still feel that lack of confidence and understanding where you're at in those stages. I think really makes a big deal as you get seasoned into being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Absolutely.
After that, you become consciously competent. Now you know that you don't suck that much, and you're starting to get the your bearings, right?
Right, and you actually start making money. Like that's the you start seeing you rewarded for your troubles and your time and the hard effort that you put into it. And that's where we're at. We're wholesaling. Wholesaling's doing amazing for us right now. The side hustle, the flipping is doing amazing for us right now. And then now we're also picking up rentals and, occasional seller carry type thing that we're trying to implement into the business right now. And then we're also implementing novations into the business. So we're still growing different concepts of real estate. That's what's so great about real estate.
Yeah.
There's so many different arenas and areas you can go into to try to get better at and learn that you dabbled with before, and all it does is just add one more source of income, or one more, you monetize in one more way your lead flow that you're already having, right? And
you already have the foundation. That's the it's one of my favorite vehicles for wealth. Real estate, no contest. I still, if I were to start all over again, I would have started with that instead of a transportation business. I'm not complaining, but I know I would have, gotten a lot more results if I had focused on real estate, just because of the amount of opportunity that's in there. People think, normally it comes down to to real estate, traditional sales. Real estate, you list the property, or what
Right.
do you do? I'm a real estate investor, or I'm a broker, or I'm a whatever. Oh, you sell houses, and there's so much more. There's
I
just so
know.
much more after you start getting into it, and of course, like you have to apply yourself to getting the knowledge, right, and building that up, and then coming back from hits, man. Coming back
Coming
from
in from hits, that's totally it. You got to go out there, mess it up, learn why you messed it up, and then learn and implement again, right? And this is what we're doing right now. As we're implementing novations into our business. We have a couple contracts right now that are novation type deals, and it's like, okay, what do we do at this point? How do we? Okay, all right, call the notary in that market. I think we need the power of attorney at this point. We're trying to figure all the little pieces out, but it's fun, right? Because it's a new part of the business that we weren't doing before, and now we're implementing and learning, and then we're gonna make some big mistakes with it. I know we are, because that's just how it works. We're gonna end up messing some things up, and then we're gonna learn from it, and just keep pushing through it until we get it good.
Yeah.
Just how we are with wholesaling. Now, wholesaling, I mean, we could do that in our sleep now, but
yeah. But it wasn't the case, right? When you first got started, that's the thing. So you're crushing it in real estate, and that's really how we kind of met a while back. But you're also tapping into different areas, right? You're talking about e-commerce. You're talking about like just scratching your entrepreneur itch in
that whole little
other
thing
industries.
You just said about a minute ago about farting rainbows and the whole just that dry. I'm right there with that with e-commerce right now. So I have a new mentor and new coaching that I'm going through right now. We're building our first Amazon FBA private label store. We're in the process right now of sourcing manufacturers out in China and getting the products built. And it's a whole new venture for me, and it's a lot of fun. And I got started in this because there was a big name in real estate last year when COVID hit. He shut down his real estate business, fired everybody, and all of a sudden he started pushing e-commerce stores out there. And at first I didn't buy one. I was like, I'm not going to get into that. And then one of my buddies out in Texas who does real estate, he's like, hey man, I bought one of those. And I was like, you bought one? I'm like, shit. Right, well, I guess I'll
what
buy
am I
one.
missing? What am I missing?
I mean, I guess I'll buy one. So I was like, that's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. We'll just, it was $45K it was an automated e-commerce store, and they keep like half your profit to run it. And so I was like, all right, well, it's $45K. It's a gamble, right? So I did it, and then it produces money. I'm like, it shocks
it
me.
works.
Yeah, it works, and it's just automated. I'm like, but I'm giving up 50% of my profit. So I'm like, you know what? I need to learn how to do this. So I completely made it my night hustle now. So like at night, 8 o'clock at night, we get on these coaching calls, these Zoom calls, and we're going through the whole mentorship, and we're learning everything. I'm taking on this venture with my sister, and she's going to run everything. I'm going to finance it. But she's going to be like the COO of the business. And then once we get good at like running our stores, and then obviously, some family member stores, then we're going to start doing what he does and start, taking on clients and running their stores and automating, which is good for a lot of people who have busy lives.
Yeah, at that point, it's just an investment for somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it does make sense for people, and it works.
You're almost funding your startup, just brand new startups left and right.
Yeah.
You said something really key right now, your night hustle. You labeled it your night hustle.
Yeah.
And I can, oh my God, I can so relate to that. We have, even when I had a job, right? I would still, as soon as I got off, I would go hit, whatever I was working on, and made it. Yeah. So here's the cool thing, though. You turned your first business into a night hustle.
That was a night hustle in the beginning.
That was a night hustle in the beginning. So you
I
were
didn't
still
sleep.
dealing, but you were fulfilling your duties at your job as a dealer, cards dealer, and
card dealer, right?
Card dealer, yeah, a blackjack dealer, and so you were doing that, and then coming back home, tired, didn't matter, and then you went into the hustle part of it, made a big ass business out of it, which now it's kicking ass left and right. You don't need to do anything else if you don't want to.
If I don't want to.
But that itch is still there, right?
Right.
And how are you approaching it? Through a night hustle again. Yep. So now your job, quote unquote, is that first one that you built, and you're building on top of that.
And building on top of that, going home, and it's fun, it's enjoyable because it's all brand new. And I remember that when real estate was like that, when I was able to, I enjoyed the night hustle, even if I didn't sleep, because it was brand new. It was something I was learning. And anytime I'm learning something new and going into this whole new field, it's just, man, it excites the crap out of me. It does. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't watch TV. I have no idea what's going on in politics, except for maybe like Facebook once in a while. I'm like, oh, you know, I don't follow much. I'll do a lot of reading. And then right now I'm not even doing a lot of reading just because I'm going through this whole e-commerce venture now. So it's just, yeah.
I mean, I think that's how it's got to be done, man. It's if we focus too much on what's outside, stuff that we cannot control, it's easy to get afraid. It's easy to get
sucked
sucked into that whole thing, and shiny object, syndrome. You get distracted. Period.
Absolutely.
Right? Like the main stuff that I look at is just stuff that I can't control. What's within my bubble? All right. What can I impact? Whatever I do, how far is that ripple effect, and somewhere that I can actually manage it. And that's as far as my concerns go. Aside from that, I know it may not be the rightest, the best thing to do. But I don't really get caught up in politics. I don't really get caught up. I mean, I get caught up in the stuff that I can manage in my ecosystem, right? And I think if everybody, I don't know, we're getting off on a tangent, but I think if everybody focused on their own shit first, everybody would be better.
You get so much more done.
Absolutely.
Right, in your life. I mean, you can only control what's going on in your life, right? And you can only control, like, if events are happening to you, you can't control a lot of those events.
Absolutely.
But you can control how you respond to those events.
Yep.
And that is really key to that. And that's it. That's all you have control of. And at the end of the day, all we have control over ultimately is our thoughts.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, owning that, getting responsibility for our actions, and then really just, trying to keep that, our space, right? Our space, our lane, clear and ready.
Stay in the lane.
Staying in the lane and then doing our thing. I mean, great stuff is gonna, trickle over to different areas, or bad stuff if you let it, right? But I mean, I think it's as individuals, it's the best thing that we can do, that helps out the overall.
Absolutely.
Tangent, but I feel so strongly about that.
It is, and a great book that kind of it reminds me of is Gary Keller's The One Thing. Mm-hmm. It's a great book where he really touches in all that area of life.
I love that book.
How to build out one business. You only want to build out one business first and get that really become the master at that business before you trying to go and doing something else. You don't want to be a jack of all trades.
Right.
You want to be a master of one, and then maybe slowly become a master of two, and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And so on. So,
well, it also triggers the domino effect, right? I mean, something you create something, and after you find that right domino, you tip it over, and then you can take on something twice its size,
right?
And it just goes on and on and on and on and on, which is exactly what you're doing in the business world right now.
Yep.
You took on a challenge, which was wholesaling, and that became something else into the flipping. You started making profits, and now your e-commerce is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's amazing, bro. I love it. Now, how do you manage your mindset coming into things? Every time I see you, you're you have this positive light. You're just smiles, and you're like the coolest, most amiable guy to hang out with.
It wasn't always like that, especially in the beginning. I'll tell you what the greatest thing for me with being an entrepreneurial, the biggest shift, I guess you could say, for mindset is my morning routine, man. My morning routine is, and I try not to miss a beat with it, unless if I'm traveling, going to some mastermind or something like that. But like if I'm here, I'm in my workflow. Morning routine, man. I wake up at 6 o'clock. I do a meditation. I do my affirmations. I write my gratitude journal. I go to the gym. And then I pray. So I'm very religious as far as I believe it's the universe and God who creates who we create with to provide for us in our lives. So it's my morning routine is huge. So at 6 o'clock I get up, and between 6 and 9 I don't even look at my phone. I don't touch my phone. I don't focus on any business. It's just my morning routine, and then at 9 o'clock, boom, I'm in the office, and then it's all business. And I tell you, man, that sets my whole day. It really does. It puts me in the right mindset the whole entire day.
It's I love it, man. The concept of the morning routine, I guess it's becoming more and more popular, but it used to be this thing where people laugh about it. Right. I mean, I know like morning routine. Come on. Like, how is that going to make me a better person?
Right,
how is me sitting there in silence and not doing anything going to make me productive? Like, now, I can't go without it.
I think the exact same way. I felt like I had to use every single hour of the day, every minute of the day, trying to, like, focus on building business and focusing on business. And man, I was in the beginning, I was so stressed out, and which led over to, a lot of drinking and stuff like that. And that's how I was, that's a whole nother story though.
These stressors.
These stressors that would, that are unhealthy. And, but I mean, because entrepreneurial, if you don't have something or some way to manage your mind, it could drive you crazy. It could distress. It's
absolutely, man. You have to channel it somehow, some way. Sometimes I'll be in my space and I start feeling. I just start feeling it get to me. But for example, for me, it's working out, right? I don't have to go super heavy and all out every single day, but I still got to have a space where it just decompress. Yeah. And for some people, it's just sitting there and reading. But channeling it into something that's productive or that's building you up instead of tearing you down, it's really what allows for that space of growth to happen, right?
Absolutely. And another book that really helped me transition with this was Dr. Joe Dispenza's Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Oh, yeah.
After reading that book, it's funny, after reading that book and doing those meditations and really implementing the morning routine, that's when my wholesale business started doing 6 figures a month. It was all during that time. And before that, it wasn't. And I was overly stressed, and it was like, trying to force something that was not working right, and it was just a battle every day. And then it wasn't that much of a battle anymore after learning those morning routines and learning that meditation.
You get into this space of creating through flow, and it's not only you, because the people around you, as in the team, they start feeling that.
Yeah.
They start,
for sure.
Yeah, you start having those weird, quote unquote, weird conversations with people, and like, yeah, I mean, it's when you, I'm never gonna forget the first time that I told one of my employees, you know what, just relax. Don't worry about it. Just see it through in your head, see it through, and then visualize it. And then the actions that we need to take, they're going to come to you.
Right.
Like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Exactly.
I mean, that was a reaction. That was a reaction. And I think it really comes down to disconnecting from that continuous train of thought that we have mentally all the time. And creating those little gaps, right? So we can give our thinking process a little bit of a break and actually get creative with it.
Absolutely.
That's one. But also I think the connection from the spiritual connection and operating from within gives you a lot of insight on that. Dispenza's, I mean, wow.
Yeah,
his stuff is amazing.
Yeah,
his stuff is amazing.
One of my goals hopefully it can happen. I'm not sure because of COVID, and I don't know how.
Cancun?
He tours a lot. He does a lot of tours across the world. I want to go to one of his events.
I have one of my really good friends, Justin Thorstad. He just came back from one he did in Cancun.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got another one coming up, I think it's February. I think it might be February or June or something like that. Yeah, but those things are like his week-long seminars sell out like in 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's amazing. Another great book that he's got is the Becoming Superhuman.
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Yeah. I read that one too. It's like the post book of the first one.
Yeah, it's out there, bro.
It is. And he's got a meditation in every chapter.
Oh yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's almost hard to keep up with.
It is. Yeah. It is. You gotta pick and choose which ones you want to take on, and then that's you don't overload yourself.
But you're right, man. At the end of the day, it really comes down to having your process of decompression as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of things that build up, and it can get lonely, right?
It's very lonely.
I've talked about that multiple times. Why? Because the conversations that you're having in your head, somebody who's not going through the same journey, somebody who's not going through the same stuff, not having the same employee issues, not having the same solopreneur issues, they're just gonna see it as a the stress doesn't get.
And they're not going to relate.
Yeah, exactly. That's
why I love masterminds so much, because of the friendships and relationships I've built with people who have the exact same issues I have, right? I mean, there are people I call who are literally doing the same amount, who are the same level of success of real estate as I am, or about more, which is great. And I reach out to them, and they've already had that problem, or they've gone, through, or they're having it, right? And it's like I get to be able to relate to them and talk about it.
Yeah, and at the very least, you're all on the same page.
Yeah.
So you have that similar exchange of energy going back and forth, right? It's very important to have that support structure. They call it support structure, but when you reach out, to people who can level up with you as you go through your journey, as you go through your challenges, and I mean that's crucial. I
It's
think.
so crucial, and it helps you succeed. It really does.
Yeah.
Helps you succeed 120%.
Absolutely. So besides the morning routine, I mean, somebody who's thinking of starting their own business, and you've done multiple, what would you recommend? What would be the top 3 things that they would need to focus on?
Wow. I mean, obviously, just one of the first things, which I did this a little bit more in the beginning, is really do some due diligence and figure out who are the people who are doing that business. Who are these people, right? Who are already doing it? Because the best thing I'm good at is just copying and pasting. Like, I just want to know what you did and how you did it, and then if I can just copy and I should have the same results, right? It's not that simple, but that's the idea. And sort of one of the first things, find someone who's doing it before, and they don't need to be light years ahead, because if they're light years ahead, then they're going to have different set of problems and issues. You're not going to relate with them. Somebody maybe who has a little bit of success in that industry, and then start networking with them. That's just the hugest thing, man. Reach out to them, network, figure out what they did, what is their struggles, what is their pains, what is their successes, what are they doing right? I wish I'd have done that with the flipping in the beginning. I would have not had such losses, but I didn't. I was like, I can do this, and I thought, you just go out and do it.
Swing a hammer, it's easy.
Right. I'll just find some contractors and pay them a bunch of money, and then
permits?
my house
What do you
gets
mean
done.
permits?
Right. City codes.
What?
So I mean, that's number one, and number 2 is you gotta allocate time. So if you got your day job, you're going to have to make sure you allocate and block your time and not let anything interrupt that time, because that time is crucial. It's important. It's, it's everything to you. And you can't, I know a lot of people have families, and it makes it tough, and they may want to watch the ball game, or, there's the football
There's still a
games,
life, right, that has to be lived.
So you have to be able to prioritize that time for building out the business and implement that in. And that might be you telling your buddies, no, I can't go to the bar tonight and watch the game with you. There's sacrifices that have to be made.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to prioritizing. I mean, what do you want to live, if you're thinking about doing something on your own, is because there's some type of or some level of dissatisfaction, right? Usually people do not. Yeah, I mean, this is something. It's high risk. High probability of failure. I mean, heck, I think 80% of the businesses fail year 1, year 2. Anybody who starts a business, and I don't know what the exact stats are, but I know that
and now
that
I
was the
understand
case.
Why.
yeah.
Before you're like, why is that?
So there's a lot of there's a lot of side gigs that go nowhere, right? But if you really want to make something out of it, you're completely right. You have to commit. You have to allocate the time. You have to figure out when you're going to be able to dedicate yourself to that specific thing, even if you have no knowledge of how to do it. I mean, at least R&D, right? Research.
That's right.
Figuring
YouTube
out.
University.
There's
reading some
always
books.
some actionable step that you can take.
Allocate time for that. And it's so important to do it.
One thing too about looking at who's there, in that space where you want to be at, and then coming in and trying to learn. Always lead with the and this is actually something that's getting a lot more popular in the real estate world, right? But when you're looking for mentorship or looking for advice or always lead with the idea of value, right? You want to go to that person who's in the place where you want to get to. But there's probably something where you can help them out, or somewhere where you can help them out as well. And so, how can you be of value to that person? How can you be an asset instead of just burden? Because people get hit left and right, brother. I'm sure you do get hit left and right.
Yeah.
I'll buy you lunch. I'll do this. I'll do that. And at the end of the day, like it's as much as the desire might be there to help out. It's just not humanly possible.
It sucks all your time, and then you have your own businesses to run.
Yeah. So if you're looking, if you're a new entrepreneur and you're looking to tap into somebody else who's got borrow experience from somebody else, which is essentially what you're doing, find a way to lead with value, and I mean that conversation is gonna be it's gonna be a lot easier.
And if there's either they always say there's 2 teams, right? There's time and value that you can give to somebody, and then there's obviously money. And money is not a bad thing. And you kind of touched on this earlier. Mentorship is a great thing. I've had many mentors. I'm paying for a mentor now. My e-commerce business cost me $25,000 for his mentorship.
How much is that going to save you?
Right. In the long, how much headache. And pain. Because he's going to be like, no, bro, do it like this. No, you need to say this. There's so many little things. He's going to be like, why don't you try these manufacturers over here because I've already used them. It's just so many little things that they're going to save you time and money on. But yeah, it's so worth it. And so I say if you have the money, not everyone does, and I get that. And that's where you do have to leave the value and maybe some time and be able to give something else. But if you have the money and then you do have some liquidity too, and you're trying to go into a new venture, search out mentors, man. And you do your due diligence because there are, in every industry, no matter what industry it is, there's bad ones and there's good ones. It's just what it is. That's business. I don't care what business it is. That's just how it goes. Do your due diligence and get a good one, And I promise you, it'll put you light years ahead. It did for me in my real estate business.
Absolutely, cutting the learning curve. I mean, it's crucial, especially. I mean, if you can, well, that's one thing, right? And then when you tap into that space, into that world, I mean, it comes with the experience, but it's also going to come with a network. It's going to come with great people that you're going to have something in common with already, and it's a shared space. So there's a lot of things that play into it. It's not really like the most widely accepted advice out there, but if I were to start all over again, there was this one guy that was doing the business that I was doing when I started transportation. Okay. It was a specific type of transportation business, a non-emergency medical transportation, and nobody was coaching it. There wasn't really a lot of material. He had this business in New York, right, and he was offering coaching for $4,000. I thought it was too expensive. Like, I'm not going to pay $4,000. Guess how much I spent on just trial and error and all kinds of stuff. It was insane.
Way more.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah. It was just a big fat mistake, to jump in and do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm lucky enough that real estate's taught me that lesson the hard way. So now any venture I go into, I'm going to be looking out for people who are already doing the business, try to network with them, and then seeking coaches and masterminds too, man. Because I love masterminds. It gets you in a room full of people who are all doing the exact same thing you're doing, around the same level. Some are at a higher level, some are at a lower level, so you can offer value, and then you're giving and taking. It's an amazing experience, and one of the ones I'm part of, which I love, they lock us in a mansion in Florida for 2 days, and we don't leave the mansion. And there's like 20 of us from around the United States.
So you're stuck in a mansion for 2 days in Florida
with a bunch of like-minded people, and the food's provided. And
how do you survive?
Oh, it's awesome. I give you that.
Yeah, man. It's the beautiful, highlights of entrepreneurship, right? And kind of charging and leading your own path that way. Again, there's a lot of adversity to it. You have to be able to put up with it.
You're gonna get your ass kicked.
Yeah, you get your.
I'm getting ready to get my ass kicked in e-commerce. I know it's gonna come. I know we're gonna make a lot of big mistakes. But here's the good part: when I make that mistake, I'll be able to call my coach and be like, "Bro, this just happened," and he'll be like, "Okay, here's how you're gonna pivot, or here's what you need to do next," right? I didn't really do that in real estate in the beginning. I wish I did.
You get caught in the mud, but you don't sink in the mud.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get punched.
Yeah,
this is the way it is. Now, how you respond to that is the key.
Absolutely. Especially if you're looking at creating multiple ventures, man. It's once you start rolling with that, it almost becomes an addiction for the time being, right? It's like, all right, cool, I got this down. Let's see what else I can do. The question of like, why do you do so many things? Why? Like, I really sat with this for a long time. Like, am I compensating for something? Is it because of humble beginnings that I'm shooting for so much? Am I being greedy? And I went through all kinds of shit in my head,
right?
Just trying to figure me out, right? And at the end of the day, having a conversation with one of my coaches, it was like, brother, you're doing this just because you can. Because it's part of the path. It's a beautiful thing, and then you can contribute to something bigger.
Yeah.
And working or being from that space really just kind of opened up, everything else, right? Made everything else okay. Like, all right,
you are your why.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, people ask me, it's like, what's your why? I'm my why. You know what I mean? On average, when people say, oh, I got my kids, I got family, I want to provide, I want to give to charities. Yeah, that's all great, but that's outer surface. If you're not your own why, then you will have issues and you will have problems. You need to love yourself first before you go and want to create. And there's got to be a reason inward that you want to create. Then supply for family, give to charities, do all the great things you want to do. Comes from the money.
Oh, absolutely, man. So true. You can't give $1 if you don't have $1, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with happiness. Same thing with love. Same thing with
It's
just
so
any emotions and material stuff. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
If you don't have it within you, or as a part of you, you can't give it away. It's self-respect, self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem. You have to build that within you. Like just operating from looking for outside, forces or elements to give you that kind of stuff is really not gonna connect.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. It's like a Band-Aid, right? You're putting Band-Aid on a gushing, injury.
Right. Not addressing the real issue.
Yeah, exactly. Not coming in and then fixing it from within. But when you operate from within and you figure out what that is, figure out you, which is one of the hardest things that I've tackled on. And I don't want to say I've conquered it because I still get pissed off at myself all the time. And then we all have ups and downs emotionally.
Yep.
Psychologically, it's like a mind game, 24/7. But it's a lot stronger of a place to come at, whenever adversity does hit. Like, okay, where am I operating from? Am I standing my truth? Am I standing in and what I really believe in? Is this does this line up to the type of life that I'm striving for, or is it out of whack?
Absolutely, and it goes on. I'm reading a book right now, Stress Less, Accomplish More. It's really good, and one of the lines I was reading the other night really hit me. It's you don't get what you want in life, you get what you feel like you deserve. What you feel like you deserve deep down inside. And it might be subconsciously, right? And this is why people's patterns are always, in life, there's always problems. There's always issues. Because subconsciously, little by little, they're making wrong decisions every day. Or you can subconsciously, little by little, make the right decisions every day. And you get the compound effect that goes one way or the other. And that is, it's it.
I like how you're referring back to so many books that are just amazing, man. As you go, that's the thing. I think that was one of the key. When I started as an entrepreneur, I wasn't reading.
I
was not reading.
Neither,
I was not growing. I was just doing shit and I put together
a lot of money.
Like, do yeah. Like I don't need to read. Like
right.
Yes, I know stuff. I don't need to read. But what it does is it broadens your perspective.
It does.
And it's given me so much understanding over the years that I wish I would have started reading.
Oh man.
A decade before. Yeah. I say a decade because before then it was like I wouldn't have absorbed anything anyways. But
right. I never read. I mean, before I started this journey, and or even thought about this journey. My off time, I was watching movies and playing video games. It was, there was or going to the bar, drinking, hanging out with my buddies, chasing women, right? That's all it was. There was no time set aside for growth and trying to figure out what, and figuring out myself, figuring out who I am and what I truly want in life. It was just, how much fun could I have and how, it's completely different space.
Immediate gratification, right?
It is.
And it's okay, but it's not sustainable.
It's not,
it has to be treated as a stage of life, I think. If you dwell on it or if you sit on it too much, it's you're not going to get anywhere. 10 years are going to go by, and then you're going to be wondering about the actions that you could have taken.
Yeah, 10 years goes by. It goes by pretty quick, man.
Insane. Yeah.
I can't believe I've been in real estate since 2016. That's when, towards the end of 2016 is when I flipped my first house, or when I bought it. And so I'm just like, wow, all these years have passed by already. It's going by quick. And before that, when I was a blackjack dealer, man, that was 15 years. It went by quick, man.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, it's a snap.
So,
we're not woke.
It's it, man.
We can't.
And you get stuck in cycles, rhythms, and ruts, and you gotta see it, and you go, oh man, I'm in this rut cycle, this this bad rhythm that I'm in. That's just, you gotta break free of it. You don't realize it though.
Yeah.
And that's how 10 years will fly by, and you'll be like, there was no growth done.
Yeah.
At least since 2016, now I can look back and I'm like, man, I'm a completely different person from when I was then to I am now.
Bro, that's 4 years.
Yeah, and it's 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, I say real estate saved my life. It
Yeah.
really did, just because it made me a completely different person. It taught me how to love. It taught me how to grow myself. It taught me.
I'm gonna throw a curveball. I think real estate was the catalyst.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, it forces you. I mean, this industry, and of course, there's, every industry has, their demands, right? But the role that you chose to play in this industry forced you or pushed you over the edge to become that person, right?
Yeah.
And grow. So I mean, people jump into real estate and they become assholes or bigger assholes than they were before, right? We see it all the time.
Yeah, we try to work with
see
those
it.
people.
We see it all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I can write a list right now.
Oh, especially in our local markets.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah.
won't even get into it.
Absolutely, and or it can go the other way. I
Yeah.
mean, or it can actually, make you stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself in a true light and see, okay, what kind of man am I? What am I
does,
doing? Do I have what it takes to do this? Because it's high demand. Am I in the right space? If not, what else am I looking for? And when people come at it the way that you have, which is, through growth, through understanding, through getting better, through, not being necessarily, still having that level of enjoyment, but not being necessarily satisfied yet with what you've created, meaning that you built a business and then sat on your laurels, to rest.
And, yeah.
Like, no, you're still doing the night hustle to, get over to that next level. Granted, it's probably not going to go your whole life like that, but right now
I'm enjoying the ride.
It's what exactly. You're enjoying that ride.
And there's days where you don't enjoy. I mean, there's days.
Yeah.
Everyone has a bad day. There's some bad days.
Absolutely. I was just telling somebody here at the office, like, I'm feeling so needy today. I think I've asked like 17 people for help. and like, I hardly ever ask for help. I'm not like the guy that's always asking for stuff.
Yeah.
And but yeah, sometimes you just get them. And now when you make the choice to become that person, and get serious about the stuff that you're doing, and it doesn't matter the industry, because this really applies anywhere. That's when life can change. That's when 4 years can double, triple, quadruple the impact that you had in the previous 15.
Yeah.
Emotionally, financially, and in the reach and influence, or not influence, but in the impact that you're having in everybody around you.
Yeah.
And influence for that matter.
I love my life now, the people who are in it and the people I'm around. And you're right, there does times it does get lonely, but overall, man, it's amazing. And it's because I've been slowly creating it now. You create it and you're,
it's a long-term play.
Long-term play, day by day, compound effect.
Oh yeah. But when you stand there and then you look back, you're like, wow, holy
You're right.
cow.
You're
Like,
right.
I remember when this was an issue, when this would have kept me up all night, and now it's like, yeah,
Nothing.
what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you forget about it. It's in your schedule. You forget about it. Like that's when you see that you've come a long way. I try everybody to drink the entrepreneur juice, man.
Yeah.
I love it. It's just it's not for everybody, but it's I think. At least in my opinion, it's one of the biggest liberties that we have, right?
It is, man.
And in that same light, I see it as one of the biggest blessings. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The universe and God, and they've completely blessed my life with this opening up my eyes to the entrepreneurship world. It's just, I'm so grateful, man.
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So if I know you recommended a couple of books already, but if you had to pick one top book, what would it be for somebody starting off?
My all-time, for just entrepreneurial type journey, or more real estate niche type, like
do entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur all the way.
Hell, give me both.
Outwitting the Devil.
That's a great book.
Napoleon Hill. Everyone's gonna say Think and Grow Rich. Yes, you should read Think and Grow Rich. But if Outwitting the Devil, and
that internal conversation is
beautiful,
insane.
Read it and listen to it on Audible while you read it, because there's 3 different voices on Audible, and the devil being one. And man, it's enjoyable. I've gone through it like 5 times. It's one of those books.
It takes the Think and Grow Rich, right? You have the mastermind, chapter, but it takes that chapter to a whole new level. After
Yes.
outwitting the devil, like I started doing this weird thing with it. Not with it, but I mean, I have a board in my head, a board of directors in my head, and it's people who if I ask them this question, how would they answer?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it's crazy, but when you get in your space, especially if you have, like post meditation, if you're in that transit space and you start having conversations with yourself and somebody else, you can go crazy. But it works, bro. It's insane. I don't know. I completely agree. Outwitting the Devil. It's an
one
amazing,
of my
amazing
favorite
book.
books as far as entrepreneurial journey. I mean, and there's a bunch of them. I mean, my bookshelf is so big, it grows like every week. And someone will recommend a book like this, on a podcast. What I'll do is I'll go to Amazon immediately. I'll buy it. And that way, it's just sitting on my bookshelf. So that way, when I'm done my next book,
it's in the queue. Yeah,
it's in the queue. I go and I look. Okay, what do I feel like next? And I'm going down. I'm like, and then so it's like that's the one I'm reading right now is Stress Less, Accomplish More. That was just it was in my queue because a guy recommended it for my mastermind. So I bought it, and it's just sitting there. And then now I was ready to go through that book. I was like, you know what? This is gonna be another
that's
book.
The best way. Like, that's the best way to do it. It's already there. You already have your homework laid out. And you can keep the pace up, right? You're not, sitting there and waiting for a recommendation because then you lose that habit. Power of Habit is another great book.
It is a good book.
Yeah, Duhigg. And yeah, I mean, it's keeping up with that. As you start getting in, used to doing certain things, just keeping up with that instead of starting all over again. I love it, man. So, all right. So if this is one of my favorite questions, I guess. If you're walking down the street and you run into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that kid?
Stop caring about what everyone else thinks and start focusing on, what you truly want from the inside and start loving yourself. Because when I was 17, I didn't do any of that. So it was it was a struggle. I had a struggle in my teens up into my 20s. I'm not afraid to admit it. I've gone back and forth off drugs and alcohol, and I've struggled with that the majority of my life. And especially in my teens, that's when it was really bad. So those would be some of the advice I'd give to my 17-year-old self. Yeah.
Focus on you and love yourself.
Love myself and don't worry about what other people think. It's all about, trying to fit into every little clique that's out there. It was just, I wouldn't know. It goes nowhere, I just, and I wish I could, I see a lot of these younger entrepreneurs, man, that are out there and on the podcast. And man, I love where they're at and what they're doing. And these guys, and some of my team members are like this. They just have that crazy entrepreneurial mindset and they just want to go out there and kill the world, and they're so young. I'm like, man, I wish I had that age, or at least if it was in me, I wish I could have found it, because it's probably there, and I wish I could have found it and implemented on it back then. So
yeah, I mean, I think at that stage it's a matter of awareness.
It is,
right?
You hit it.
We have it.
You hit it.
I think we have that that light, that fire, but we're not aware of it.
Yeah.
And I'll speak for myself, because I mean there was a ton of stuff at that stage too that I was just not aware of. Had I been, I think my journey would have been different, but then I wouldn't have the thicker skin that I have now.
Sure.
It's part of the process, I guess. Salt and pepper, brother.
Yeah.
The salt and pepper, right?
Love it.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's great advice. Awesome, bro. Well, thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed having you over. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how would they do it?
The best way is just, I'm very active on Facebook. Just hit me up on Messenger. I remember the last podcast, I gave my phone number out, and it was like, it blew up, and I couldn't get back to anybody. So I want to make sure I'm able to get back to people in a timely manner. Hit me up on Facebook, message, friend me, and then message me on Messenger, and I'll get back to you. And I'm also on IG, but I'm not as active on IG as I am on Facebook. So
right on.
Social media.
Awesome. All right, brother. Well, thank you so much again. It's been a pleasure having you. Appreciate all the insight.
Appreciate you, man.
Always a blast having a conversation with you.
Anytime.
You just got a backstage pass to the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and iTunes, and check out our website at ceopulse.com. Stay tuned, stay focused. You got this.